Hello everyone, welcome you all in this video lecture. So in this video tutorial, we will discuss about the mitochondrial matrix. So let's start with the introductive part. So the mitochondrial matrix is a space within the inner membrane of mitochondria. So let's understand about the mitochondria and some features of mitochondria. So basically the mitochondria is a double membrane bound cellular organelle found in all eukaryotic cells, and it is not present in prokaryotic cells and also in bacterial cells. And they are also known as powerhouse of the cell because mitochondria have the important function of ATP synthesis, and we know that ATP is the energy currency in all the cellular organisms, so that's why it is considered as powerhouse of the cell. Besides this, mitochondria is also site for glucose metabolism, lipid metabolism, and different types of other cellular activities. So now let's understand that what is the cell. So basically a cell is defined as a structural and functional unit for all the cellular organism, and a cell consists of different cellular organelles or cytoplasmic organelles, which include ribosomes, endoplasmic reticulum, lysosomes, mitochondria, and many other organelles. So the mitochondria is one of the cytoplasmic organelles, and in this video lecture we will discuss about the mitochondrial matrix in detail. So here we can see this is the structure of mitochondria. So this is the structure of mitochondria having all its organelles. So this is the outermost layer, which is called as outer mitochondrial membrane, and inside it is followed by an inner mitochondrial membrane which forms foldings or also called as mitochondrial cristae. So in between these two membranes there is a space called as transmembrane space, and inside the mitochondrial inner membrane there is a fluid-like structure called as mitochondrial matrix, and it is the important structure of mitochondria because it is the site for different cellular activities. So the mitochondrial matrix consists mitochondrial DNA and also cristae and some ribosomes in its structure. Now let's discuss about some characteristic features of mitochondrial matrix. So basically in mitochondria, the space inside the inner membrane is called as mitochondrial matrix, which found within the inner membrane of the mitochondria. So it is a viscous or compared to aqueous cytoplasm of the cell, and that's why it is called as matrix. So basically in the biological terms, the word matrix is used to the space in between two cells, and it is also a aqueous solution, and that's why it is called as mitochondrial matrix. Now the mitochondrial matrix contains the mitochondrial DNA, which is special type of DNA found in the mitochondria and which is circular DNA. And it also consists ribosomes, some soluble enzymes which are very essential for different activities completed in the mitochondrial matrix, and some inorganic ions. This mitochondrial matrix is the site for ATP synthesis, as well as it is also site for the glucose and lipid metabolism. So now let's discuss about the composition of mitochondrial matrix. So basically the composition of matrix of mitochondria consists different types of vectors and structures which are responsible for its processes. And the composition of matrix is totally depends on the structure and location of these mitochondria, and the environment of this mitochondrial matrix allows the all anabolic as well as catabolic pathways which were completed in this mitochondrial matrix. So the matrix consists different types of metabolites and enzymes in its structure, and it also composed of ribosomes and genetic material which is called as mitochondrial DNA. So let's discuss and start with the metabolites found in the mitochondrial matrix. So basically, these matrix is host to a wide variety of metabolites which help and which act and involved in the processes which are completed in the mitochondrial matrix. So the main processes which are completed in the mitochondrial matrix are citric acid cycle, and another one is electron transport chain, also called as oxidative phosphorylation. So the citric acid cycle is a process which used for the glucose metabolism where the citric acid is found. Now in this process, it involves acetyl coenzyme A, pyruvate, citrate, isocitrate, succinyl coenzyme A, fumarate, succinate, oxaloacetate, and many other several metabolites as in process. The another process is electron transport chain or oxidative phosphorylation, which also need different types of factors or metabolites for the completion of its process, and these all the metabolites are found in the mitochondrial matrix and act as a host for these processes. Now the another component of mitochondrial matrix are enzymes. So we know that enzymes are the biomolecules which are proteinous in nature, and they act as a catalyst for different types of biological reactions. So the mitochondrial matrix also contain different types of enzymes, and these enzymes are responsible for the catalyzation of the processes and reactions which are completed in the mitochondrial matrix. So the enzymes are different types of proteinous substances which used as a catalyst, and we know that there are two pathways mainly which are completed in the mitochondrial matrix. So they require different types of enzyme. For example, citrate synthase, pyruvate dehydrogenase, aconitase, alpha-ketoglutarate dehydrogenase, fumarase, malate dehydrogenase. These all the enzymes are helpful in the citric acid cycle which completed in the matrix. Some another enzymes include the ornithine transcarbamylase, pyruvate carboxylase, beta-ketothiolase, which are used in the urea cycle, and beta oxidation, which is called as fat metabolism. The proteases are also type of enzymes which are found in the mitochondrial matrix which are used for the amino acid metabolism. So these are some common enzymes which are found in the mitochondrial matrix. Now the third component of mitochondrial matrix is mitochondrial DNA. So we know that mitochondria and chloroplast, both the cytoplasmic organelles, have their own genetic material, and the genetic material of mitochondria is named as mitochondrial DNA, and it is not similar to the nuclear DNA which found in the nucleus of the cell and which is act as the genetic material. So the mitochondrial DNA resembles to the bacterial DNA in its structure because it is also in circular in structure, and it also replicate with the process of bacterial DNA. So at first the mitochondrial DNA was discovered by Nash and Margit in 1963, and he discovered about the features of mitochondrial DNA which is not similar to the nuclear DNA. That's why the mitochondrial DNA and the composition of mitochondria support the endosymbiotic theory for the origin of mitochondria and chloroplast. Now the mitochondrial DNA is also a double-stranded structure as similar to the nuclear DNA because the nuclear DNA is also double-stranded molecule. But beside this, it is rich in guanine and cytosine content. We know that the molecules of DNA and RNA, which are combinedly called as nucleic acids, are made up of monomeric units which are called nucleotides. So these molecules are made up of nitrogenous base pairs which are adenine, guanine, thymine and cytosine. So the mitochondrial DNA is rich in guanine and cytosine content as compared to adenine and thymine. The fourth component of mitochondria is ribosomes. Basically, the ribosomes are also a type of cytoplasmic organelle, and they are found in all the cells in prokaryotic as well as in eukaryotic cell. So the mitochondria also contain its own ribosomes, which are found in the mitochondrial matrix, and these ribosomes are helpful for the synthesis of different types of proteins. So the ribosomes are 55 S ribosomes, which resembles to the bacterial ribosomes. So that's why the mitochondria is also able to synthesize some of its own proteins, but the major portion of its proteins are exported or imported from the nucleus of the cell. So here this is the structure of mitochondrial matrix. Here we can see this is the outermost membrane of mitochondria, and this is the inner membrane which form foldings which are called as mitochondrial cristae, and in between these two membranes there is an intermembrane space of mitochondria. So here in the inner side of the inner membrane, here we can see this is the mitochondrial matrix, and in this image we can see different types of functions completed and different types of reactions which are completed in the mitochondrial matrix. So here we can see this is the pyruvate which formed by the glycolysis come into the mitochondria and converts into acetyl coenzyme A, and it take part in the citric acid cycle. So the citric acid cycle is a part of glucose metabolism which completes in the matrix of mitochondria, and after then these carbon dioxide molecules and are used and are take part in the electron transport chain and help in the ATP synthesis. So these are some essential functions or very important functions which are performed by mitochondrial matrix. Now let's discuss about the functions of mitochondrial matrix. So as we have discussed in our earlier slides that mitochondrial matrix is the site for citric acid cycle, oxidative phosphorylation and urea cycle. So the citric acid cycle and the oxidative phosphorylation are the part of glucose metabolism. In the citric acid cycle, it is a cyclic reaction where the acetyl coenzyme A is converted into two molecules of carbon dioxide, and the acetyl coenzyme A comes from the process of glycolysis where the pyruvate molecule is formed by the glucose molecule and it is converted into acetyl coenzyme A. The another process completes in mitochondrial matrix is oxidative phosphorylation, which also include electron transport chain. So here this is the process of ATP synthesis. Basically in this process the electron transport chain completes, and in the last step of electron transport chain there is an enzyme found named as ATP synthase, and this enzyme have the ability to convert the ATP molecules into ATP molecules. That's why it is considered as powerhouse of the cell. And the third function completed in the mitochondrial matrix is urea cycle. So these are the functions of mitochondrial matrix, and these are the processes for which the matrix act as a site. So in this video we have discussed about the mitochondrial matrix, its structure, its composition and its some important functions. Thank you.